Hi, and welcome to Cinema Analytics. Today I want to go over something just a little bit different. Instead of focusing specifically on movies, I'm going to take a quick look at music, specifically Apple iTunes Top 100 albums. In these Top 100 albums, we're going to focus on legacy artists, primarily artists from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And we're going to see how many albums from each decade are in the top 100, as well as the artists. So, what we're looking at right now here at the top is simply the number of albums per decade in the top 100. And you can see that the 1970s far outpaces the other decades, the 60s, 80s, and 90s. There's 16 that with artists from the 1970s. So the way that I determine which decade an artist belongs in is that I chose the artist's most prominent decade, and that pretty much resolved everything. The only artist I had any problem with determining which decade they belong in is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. They actually started out in the mid 70s, 1976, had a couple of early hits in the 70s, and also had some big hits in the 80s as well. Since it's kind of split between those two decades, and because they actually started a career in the 70s, I just went ahead and put them into the 1970s bucket. So let's take a little bit closer look at the decades. The 1960s currently. Aretha Franklin has two albums. Creedence Clearwater Revival has one. This album has been in iTunes top 100, top 200, pretty much every time I've ever checked. Aretha Franklin, obviously, who passed recently, is the reason why she has two albums in the top 100 on the iTunes chart. In the 1970s, you can see all the artists here: ABBA, Bob Marley, Eagles, Elton John, Journey. Leonard Skinner, whose lead guitarist also passed away just a few days ago at the time of this recording. Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, of course, has been on the top 100 chart or top 100 or 200 pretty much every time I've checked also. And of course, Queen is very popular. The aforementioned Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and some albums that have various artists in it. This would include the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtracks. There's a few throwback albums from the 1970s also. In the 80s, only one artist here, and one other album that's in the top 100 with various artists. In the 1990s, three artists: Alice in Chains, Dave Matthews Band, and Goo Goo Dolls. And once again, just keep in mind that this is a snapshot. The date that I captured the data was August 25th, and that's today. So this is just a snapshot. Pretty sure if you go in there now, everything would be very different. So let's take a look at another chart. And this chart is looking at is also looking at the decades, but it's looking at the decades by ranking. So this zero bin here, this is actually the albums that are ranked between 1 and 10. So this would be the top 10 albums. You can see that there are three of them that are 70s albums, and one each for 60s and 90s. Excuse me, this is 1 through 25, not 1 through 10. It's 1 through 25. And this band is 26 albums ranked 26 to 50. And you can see that there are four albums from the 1970s. The next bin, this is going to be between 51 and 75. And it's all 70 albums. And the next bin is 75 through 99. So this has been just as we saw in the previous chart, and it's pretty much spread out between different artists. It just kind of shows you where the different artists lie. in the rankings. And that's pretty much it. As always, this will be posted to Tableau Public, and I will provide the links down below if you'd like to take a look at it. And that's it for now. Thank you for watching.